You woke up today, but did you wake up? You are running on old software default settings coded by fear, trauma, and other people's expectations. That trauma, it's a cage. That fear, it's just a file. It's time to locate the source code. It's time to look past the illusion and see the operating system. Delete the files, recode reality. Welcome to Recode Reality.
If you're listening to this, it's probably because a part of you is tired. Tired of restarting, tired of being stuck in the same loop, tired of feeling like you're living the same day in different outfits. Today, I'm going to tell you something most people don't want to hear. You don't need motivation. You need a new identity. Welcome to Recode Reality. Let's talk about discipline, self-respect, and why your default self is the one holding your life hostage. You ever notice how every time you try to change your life, something pulls you back? A thought, a habit, a version of you that feels comfortable, a bit too comfortable, even though it's killing your potential. And yet, your hand is moving on autopilot, doom scrolling through another TikTok, just wishing life would be different and more like the people you watch online. But oh, honey, that's the victim mindset you become a slave to. If you think you're just too unlucky to be that person you saw having their morning run, or that guy who's acing all those tests, or the girl who's earning 6 digits without that 9 to 5 job, it's never luck that you blame just to make yourself feel better. It takes a whole lot of confidence and self-love to step out of that comfort zone and embody the version you've been dreaming about for so long. Neuroscientists and authors like Dr. Joe Dispenza explain that when you think like your future self, your brain literally rewires its structure through neuroplasticity. You create new neural paths, new emotional responses, new levels of discipline. This is why manifestation works, not as magic, but as neuroscience. The moment you shift your state, your identity follows. Tony Robbins talks about this as a state shift. Change your emotional state and you instantly change your behavior. You don't want to feel like you've been waiting your whole life to be disciplined. You become the person who already is disciplined. Let's break it down into much simpler words for you, shall we? Take an example of a woman expecting to birth a healthy child. Now, she doesn't have that infant with her physically in her 3D reality yet. But what does she do as soon as she finds out she's expecting? She starts to embody the state of being a mother to this child. She has a firm belief that this child is bound to be hers, and for that, she embodies the identity of a mother physically and mentally. That's how this manifestation thing works, by the way. Just because your brain doesn't see anything in your third dimensional reality, it assumes all this stuff is just some weird voodoo magic. But that's just a fancy title we gave to something us humans are designed for. I'll have a detailed chat about this in one of my other episodes to come, but getting back to our main topic, you need to know that once you embody the version of you that wakes up early, has confidence, works for their goals, and looks after themselves, they are bound to reach their end goal. It really is that simple, guys. We've spent so long giving our energy into complaining and complaining that we didn't realize that's the reality we called in for our own selves. So, ever thought about what your ideal self would do in such a situation? Let me elaborate. Your default self wakes up miserable and complains about how it's going to be such a boring day because the same old routine keeps on repeating every day. You started when the whole morning has been wasted. because you were up late on your phone last night. You complain about having to do so much throughout the day and sleep with a heavy heart and a firm belief that there's nothing you can do to fix your life, when you could literally just pick and choose the version of you that you wanted to become. Your mind will automatically start giving you ideas on what to do next once you keep breaking down your pre installed trauma bonds or negative assumptions about everything. People talk about habits like they matter. Habits don't matter, identity does. You will always act like the person you believe you are. Here's another example. If you think you're inconsistent, you will act inconsistent. If you think discipline is hard, you'll avoid anything that requires effort. If you think you're unlucky, you'll sabotage any chance of winning. But here's the truth: your identity is not fixed, it's chosen. And every day, you chose the same damn one. You relive the same life. Your mind and body always work in favor of your most dominant thought and belief. People wait for the right feeling to start changing. You won't have it. The right feeling comes after the identity shift, not before. The version of you with discipline doesn't wake up and say, I'm so motivated today. No, they wake up and say, I do what needs to be done because it's who I am. All those people you see living their best lives had to sacrifice this comfort that you're rotting in. They had to put in that willpower to get through that last push up instead of going easy on themselves, or to study each and every day instead of leaving it till the deadline, or just simply knowing that they love themselves and deserve the best of the best, not something they think is just enough. Because when you put it at just being enough, life will give you just that. Discipline isn't punishment. Discipline is self respect. Discipline is you saying, I trust myself to finish what I start. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, puts it perfectly. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Most people try to change their behavior, they never change their identity. And because of that, the subconscious stays loyal to the old version of you, the one who procrastinates, fears change, or thinks I can't do this. And loyalty to an outdated identity creates a repeated loop. Your old identity is not evil, it was just built on survival. It was built on fear, on limitation, on autopilot. But you outgrew it and now it's literally suffocating you. Deleting your old identity doesn't require some dramatic spiritual ritual. It's one decision. I don't act like that person anymore. And then you prove it with small actions. Example: your old identity scrolls for an hour. Your new identity puts the phone down. Your old identity waits for inspiration. Your new identity creates it. Your old identity fears failure. Your new identity sees failure as feedback. Discipline isn't waking up at 5 a.m. or reading 20 books. Discipline is about keeping your word to yourself. It's literally doing the thing you know you should be doing, even when you don't feel like it. Some days, even I don't want to work. Some days, I don't want to be productive. But then I remember, I'm not living as my old self anymore. I show up because that's the identity I chose. I know my goals, and for someone who wants all those goals accomplished, they wouldn't be slacking behind for even a bit. So, guess what? I go that extra mile, and the satisfaction it gives me by the end of the day makes it all worth it. I wouldn't feel the need to talk about all this if I hadn't seen change, if my timeline didn't shift. But guess what? I don't like to gatekeep, and I'm giving you the first hand big sibling advice to get up and delete that junk folder stuck in your mind. Go for a damn walk, look around, You once wanted certain things so badly, and now that you have them, they're useless to you. And that next negative thought feels so much better to think about than how privileged you really are. Have you ever noticed this? You get motivated, you decide to change. You start waking up early, journaling, eating better, and being disciplined. And then, suddenly, out of nowhere, your brain pulls you right back into the old pattern, like a rubber band. No matter how far you stretch, it snaps back. This isn't laziness, it isn't lack of willpower. Psychologist Maxwell Maltz, in his book Psycho-Cybernetics, discovered something powerful. You will always act like the person you believe yourself to be. So even if you try to force new habits, your old identity silently drags you back. You're not failing because the goal is hard. You're failing because your identity isn't updated. So 1. Pick the identity you want. Write it down if you want to. I like to make it fun by giving it a new name and set of skills and talents that my old identity would rather dread to accomplish. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest who you are. Ask yourself, what would they be doing right now? Moment to moment identity switching. Every time you feel yourself slacking. 3. Make discipline emotional, not logical. You stop breaking promises to yourself when you realize it's disrespect. You deserve better from you, not anybody else. 4. Kill the default mode. The moment you catch yourself slipping into old patterns, stop, breathe, choose again. 5. Create small wins daily. Microscopic habits you can't fail. This all ties into manifestation without saying the word too directly. You don't chase the life you want, you become the version of yourself who already has it. And once you learn to become that version of you, you feel like you're content enough and like satisfied that you don't need to be chasing after anything else. And well, that's exactly the you that already has it all. Or, in other words, you detach from the very thing you thought you needed the most. And it's a whole other topic with its own depth, but I hope you're catching on to this. Become so satisfied with yourself that you end up thinking, so everything's perfect and I kind of don't need anything else. You get what I mean? When you embody the emotion of the end, the world will adjust to match you, not the other way around. The future isn't coming toward you, it's waiting for you. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. Your dream life isn't far. It's just owned by the version of you who finally stopped lying to themselves. You don't need more motivation. You don't need reasons. You don't need signs or waiting for the right time. All you need is to stop being the version of yourself who gave up before the miracle. So, choose your identity, become them today, and your reality won't have a choice but to catch up. And this is only the beginning. Thank you for listening to episode 1. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, become the version of you your future is waiting for.